Listen up. If you're knocking out 60-hour weeks for a company that would replace you with an algorithm and a gift card, this is for you. Because the men who get crushed in layoffs, divorces, and midlife panic all have one thing in common. They worked harder on the job than they ever worked on themselves. Do you notice that, Squeeze? Today I'm going to flip that. I'm going to show you how to become the guy who walks into any room, any company, any crisis, and doesn't flinch. Because he is the asset, not the job, him. So stay with me, because if you get this wrong, you don't just lose a promotion. You could lose decades. Quick deal? If you've ever felt that panic when your boss puts time on your calendar or when the company restructures, do this. Watch this all the way through to the end. Then decide if I've earned a second video from you. Trade that and let me show you one insight that changes how you work this week. That's the trade. All right? Let's go. You've been sold this bullshit story that power comes from some title. Manager, director, VP. You know who believes that? Insecure men. And that's why I wrote, "You're not an alpha, you're an asshole." The brutal truth about real power. See, real power is not, my title is bigger than yours. Real power is, I can walk away. I can rebuild. I can learn faster than you can promote me. Your job is rented. Your skills, your mind, your discipline, that's own power, and it belongs to you. So when you grind 10 extra hours this week trying to impress your boss, but you won't spend 30 minutes reading, learning, or sharpening a skill, you're literally trading owned power for their rented power. And that's how men die inside, with a nice salary. Now, do you hear that? That noise in your head is your inner compass whispering. I want you to quiet your thoughts and trust that knowing over title chasing noise. So here's your first gut check question. If they took your job title off your email signature tomorrow, would you still feel like a powerful man? Now, if the answer is, fuck no, well, that's your wake-up call. Most guys don't say I'm a victim. They just talk like one. They overwork me. They don't pay me enough. They don't believe in or see my potential. This book, Cry Harder, it's not about being cruel. It's about this. You're either the guy who says they did this to me, or the guy who says I let this happen because I didn't invest in myself. When you choose Netflix over learning, when you choose gossip over skill, when you choose staying comfortable over getting better, you are actively voting for future helplessness. And that's not a feeling, that's math. So here's why the fuck you should care. The man who invests in himself never has just one option. Job cuts? Well, he has offers. Toxic boss? He has leverage. Marriage shaking? He has backbone. If you want that kind of security, keep listening. I'm going to give you a simple rule you can use this week to flip from overworked employee to personal asset manager. Here's the rule. For every hour you give your job, give yourself at least 10 minutes. 10 minutes of reading, learning, trading, building your body, your brain, or your network. And I don't mean bullshit inspiration. I mean skills that make you harder to ignore, harder to replace, and harder to knock off center. This one, identity reboot, become unshakable in any room. That's what self-investment actually does. It changes who you are in the room, not just what you do in the room. You walk into a meeting differently when you know you've been sharpening your communication. You understand power dynamics. You've trained your nervous system not to panic every time someone disagrees with you. Let's talk about the part nobody wants to admit. You can't outread, outwork, or outcoach your way past a toxic environment if you're marinating in it 24/7. Coworkers who complain all day, a boss who keeps you small, friends who clown you for wanting more. That's why I built the free guide called Detox, Your Toxic Relationships. Not because it sounds cute, but because if you don't audit who you're around, they will drag you back to being the old version of you every damn time. Here's what that guide does for you. You identify who actually weakens you versus who sharpens you. You get practical steps in this guide to spend less time with the anchors and more time with the accelerators. You want to work harder on yourself? Start by removing the people who punish you for doing it. Don't die like this. Start now. The link's in the description. Grab it. Use it this week, not someday. If this hit you in the ribs, Well, here's how you keep this rolling. First, free guide. Detox your toxic relationships because if your environment stays the same, you don't. Second is the books. Look, you're not an alpha, you're an asshole. Use this to rewrite your definition of power so you stop chasing titles and start building real leverage. Cry harder to rip the victim script out of your head and stop telling stories and start making real moves. Finally, identity reboot to become that unshakable man in any room so your job becomes one option, not your lifeline. Look, these aren't coffee table flexes. They're manuals. You use them or you stay stuck. Third, coaching. If you're the guy who hears this and thinks, yeah, I'm done wasting years, and you want someone in your corner holding you to this standard, then coaching is where we take this from good video to new life. You don't work with me to feel better. You work with me to become a man you actually respect. Your job can vanish. Your title can change. Your company can sell you off faster than they upgraded the coffee machine. The only thing you take into every room, every crisis, every relationship is you. Work harder on that than on the shit they can take away. I'm Mitchell Palmer. Don't die like this. Start now.